Lewis Hamilton's frustrated radio calls during the Dutch Grand Prix have highlighted a familiar problem inside Ferrari. On the surface, it might look like a simple case of a driver letting off steam in the heat of battle. But it's more than that. It's the first significant sign of tension in what was supposed to be the biggest partnership in modern F1 history. His raw frustration over being forced to battle his own teammate reveals a simple, damning truth. He believes Ferrari's strategy cost him a potential podium, and more importantly, it raises questions about whether they are operating with the decisiveness of a championship-winning team. This wasn't just about one race. This was a 7-time world champion, a man forged in the ruthlessly efficient furnace of Mercedes, getting his first real taste of life at Maranello under pressure. And based on his post-race comments, he did not like what he tasted. So, what really happened at Zandvoort? Why was Hamilton's anger not just justified from his perspective, but also predictable? And what does this single moment of frustration tell us about his future in red? The Dutch Grand Prix was a high-stakes chess match. After a mid-race pit stop, Lewis Hamilton found himself on fresher tyres with a significant pace advantage over his teammate, Charles Leclerc, who was running just ahead. For him, the mission was clear: get past Leclerc quickly and hunt down the Mercedes of George Russell for that final podium spot. For any top team, this is a textbook scenario where team orders, an instruction from the pit wall for one driver to let another pass, are often deployed to maximize the team's overall result. Time is everything in Formula One, and every lap spent fighting your own teammate is a lap you're not spending catching your rivals. Wasting seconds can be the difference between emerging from a pit stop ahead of your target or behind them, completely nullifying a pace advantage. Hamilton knew this. He got on the radio, making it clear to the pit wall that he was faster and on better tyres, expecting a swift, decisive call. But what followed was hesitation. Lap after lap ticked by as Hamilton was stuck behind the sister car. Ferrari asked Leclerc to pit, but the instruction wasn't immediately followed, adding to the delay. Hamilton's frustration started to boil over as he radioed that they were losing time. By the time Leclerc finally pitted several laps later, a crucial window of opportunity to attack Russell for the podium had shrunk. Hamilton's irritation was obvious in a sarcastic radio message after the fact. He would go on to finish fourth, just missing out on the rostrum. After the race, when his engineer mentioned he was a bit unlucky, Hamilton's response was immediate. He retorted that it wasn't bad luck. He believed the time they lost earlier cost them P3. For Hamilton, the cause and effect seemed brutally simple. The podium chance wasn't lost fighting a Mercedes. It was compromised laps earlier, battling a Ferrari. To understand Hamilton's fury, you have to remember the world he just left. For over a decade, he was the spearhead of Mercedes, arguably the most operationally sharp team in the sport's history. At Mercedes, efficiency is doctrine. Team orders, while sometimes controversial, are a tool used to achieve the best possible team result. They represent a clear strategic choice where the pit wall, with all the data at its disposal, makes a call for the greater good, even if it's tough on one driver. When a driver has a clear pace or strategy advantage, these orders are often issued without hesitation to maximize the team's points haul. After the race at Zandvoort, Hamilton explicitly pointed to his old team as the benchmark. He referenced how Mercedes handled a similar situation with decisive speed, noting how they get the call and execute it straight away. He arrived at Ferrari expecting that same clinical execution. Instead, he seems to have found a culture of hesitation that has sometimes plagued the Scuderia in the past. This isn't a new problem for Ferrari, but rather a recurring pattern of indecisiveness that has frustrated its star drivers before. Hamilton's post-race comments made it clear he intends to discuss the matter with the team offline. Hamilton, a driver who has built a career on capitalizing on every tenth of a second, now finds himself in an environment where crucial seconds, and potentially entire laps, can be lost to internal debate. His frustration wasn't just about one potentially lost podium. It was the apparent realization that the operational philosophy at Ferrari could be fundamentally at odds with what it takes to win championships. He is a surgeon who expects a perfectly sharpened scalpel, and in this moment, he felt he was handed a blunt instrument. This clash between a driver who demands perfection and a team with a history of strategic fumbles is the real story here. If you want more deep dives into the strategy and drama that define Formula One, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. The incident at Zandvoort is more than a one-off error. It's an early red flag for the partnership. In the hyper-competitive world of Formula One, championships are won and lost in the margins. A team that can't efficiently manage a simple intra-team battle on a Sunday raises questions about its ability to navigate the immense pressure of a title fight against rivals who operate with near-military precision. The real issue here is one of authority and trust. By allowing Hamilton and Leclerc to lose time on track, Ferrari didn't just compromise their result at Zandvoort. They publicly showcased a potential weakness in their race management process, and that creates doubt. It plants a seed in the driver's mind. Can he trust the pit wall to make the right call under pressure? Will he have to fight his own team for every advantage? That internal friction can be corrosive. While a team principal like Frédéric Vasseur might publicly speak of healthy rivalry, the reality is that unstructured competition between teammates almost always ends in a net loss. When drivers on different strategies are allowed to battle, they don't just lose time to their rivals, they can also use up more of their tyre's life, compromising their pace for later in the stint. And this is where the pressure on Ferrari becomes even greater. Hamilton isn't simply another driver questioning a strategy call. He arrived with more than a decade of experience inside a team that turns split-second decision-making into championships. That gives his criticism additional weight. If Hamilton starts repeatedly questioning Ferrari's execution, every future strategy call will be examined through that lens. Was the pit wall decisive enough? Did they react quickly enough? Did internal politics influence the decision? One incident doesn't prove Ferrari has a systemic problem, but it can establish a narrative. And in Formula One, once that narrative takes hold, every mistake that follows becomes evidence for it. For Hamilton, this must be a particularly concerning sign. He moved to Ferrari for one last shot at a historic 8th world title. He brought his talent and the expectation that he was joining a team ready to win now. What he may have discovered at Zandvoort is that while the car might be fast, the operational structure could be brittle. He is now in a race against time, not just on the track, but off it, to help mold Ferrari into the winning machine he needs before his championship window closes for good. Lewis Hamilton's radio messages were not just a driver letting off steam. They were a clear message. It was the sound of a champion, conditioned by a decade of operational excellence, realizing that his new home may play by a different, less efficient set of rules. The time lost behind Charles Leclerc wasn't just a strategic misstep. It was viewed by Hamilton as a symptom of a familiar issue within Ferrari, a hesitation that has cost its drivers dearly in the past. From his point of view, Hamilton's frustration is justified. He knows what it takes to win. He has lived it. He knows that championships are built on a foundation of decisive, clinical, and sometimes ruthless execution. The delay at Zandvoort wasn't just about a potential podium. It was a sign that Ferrari, for all its passion and resources, may still need to sharpen the operational discipline required to reach the top. He came to Maranello to chase history, but he may find his most valuable time is spent fighting not just his rivals, but the processes of the very team he drives for. The partnership that promised a dream is already facing its first significant test, one centered on internal strategy and decisiveness. So, the question isn't if Lewis Hamilton will become frustrated with Ferrari. The real question is, what happens when his patience finally runs out? So what do you think? Did Ferrari's hesitation at Zandvoort reveal a serious tactical weakness? Or was Hamilton just demanding too much, too soon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the biggest stories in F1, don't forget to like and subscribe.